news is the first draft of history. It is immediate and takes place in real time. Legends take longer to develop and are sometimes based on myth. This Fox News series looks at the truth behind the legend.
Just take it nice and slow, Sugarfoot.
Gentlemen, what sort of amusements do we have here?
Our man Sugarfoot here is going to try and take on Fast Dietrich over there in a foot race.
Fast Dietrich, huh? Well, all right. Excuse me, all of this on Mr. Sugarfoot, please. Now, Mr. Sugarfoot, you just do your best. You hear?
Steve. Gentlemen, through your places.
3, 2, 1.
That's cheating!
Nah, friend. Cheating would be arranging for Sugarfoot to lose the race. All I did was provide a little encouragement. Now, where are those winnings?
On the North American plains, opportunity calls men of courage to chase the sun west into a new frontier. They would shape a nation, lay hold of their destiny, and birth a new mythology. But with the passing of time, every myth has its reckoning. John Henry Holliday, known to America as a drifting gambler, deadly gunman, an iconic sidekick to a legendary lawman. But behind every myth stands a man, and behind every legend lies the truth.
There is much more to Doc Holliday than his legend as a likable sidekick to an iconic lawman. The truth is, John Henry Holliday is a notorious outlaw long before he meets Wyatt Earp. And his life of violence is the result of choice, not chance. Born into a family of means, he's highly educated, has a successful life virtually laid out in front of him. A life he chooses to reject.
By 1872, expansion west is in full swing. 7 years after the end of the Civil War, the American frontier is being established, while the South continues to rebuild. In Atlanta, one of the cities hardest hit by the Union, a young John Henry Holliday has made it through unscathed. A gifted intellect and dedicated student, Holliday graduates from the prestigious Pennsylvania College of Dental Surgery at just 20 years old.
He graduates so early in age that it was difficult for him to set up practice because he wasn't old enough yet. A clear testimony to his achievement, his critical thinking skills, and he was good.
Doc Holliday was the epitome of a Southern gentleman, which meant that he was mannerly and likely also hot-tempered and bigoted, all those things that go along with living in the South during the Civil War and Reconstruction.
You want me to hold him down, Doc?
That won't be necessary. I'll put something on your gums to dull the pain. The only time I'm not nervous is when I'm working on someone's teeth. That's how I know that dentistry is my life's calling. Jimmy, what is your favorite kind of pie? Peach. Oh, peach. Well, that's my favorite too. And if you hold still for just another second, you'll be eating some peach pie before you know it.
As Dr. Holliday reaps the benefit of his privileged life and superior intellect, the man legend will forever link him with struggles to find his own success in the growing West.
At the time that Holliday was beginning his dental practice in Georgia, Wyatt Earp, we think of him as being in Dodge City as a lawman, but at that time, Wyatt Earp was actually in Arkansas as a horse thief.
Yeah! Yeah! Hey! Hey! Get back here! Stop! Thief!
The penalty for horse thievery was hanging. That is what motivates Wyatt Earp's move west.
He makes his way through rustling towns, places like Abilene, Wichita, and winds up in Dodge City, Kansas.
Son of a...
Dodge City of the 1870s was one of the most notorious of frontier towns. It was a town with no law, where buffalo hunters, soldiers, vagrants made hay of the town every night.
Hey, where are you going? Unless you and me have some more fun.
You've had your fun. Get your dirty hands off of me.
I ain't even started yet. Yeah.
Wyatt Earp has the perfect combination of toughness and justice to be a pimp. He protects his women and keeps the peace in his brothel, turning a decent profit and making a name for himself in the process.
Wyatt called himself a businessman. He was always just looking for the next good opportunity to make a living in this frontier community.
Wyatt Earp is considered by many an iconic lawman. But unlike how he's portrayed in the movies, the real Wyatt isn't always on the right side of the law. From his early days as a horse thief to his time as a pimp, Wyatt will do whatever it takes for a payday.
Holliday soon becomes one of the most respected dentists in town.
It'll be just another minute, friend. You all right, Doc? I do beg your pardon. I better go.
He loses his good reputation just as soon as he gains it. His promising future shaken by a lingering cough and a painful memory. Six years before opening his practice in Atlanta, young John loses his mother to tuberculosis, or what's commonly called consumption.
They called it consumption because it sort of consumed you. It was a very long, slow disease, and it would really eat you away from the inside out. The classic way to die of consumption was really to suffocate.
We know that Doc Holliday had a very close relationship with his mother, something he really needed, something that gave him stability. When she died, when he was 15, that would have been a devastating blow.
Holiday's violent coughing fits keep his patients away. A visit to the family doctor confirms his worst fear.
I'm afraid it appears to be consumption. Try to get some exercise if possible. There's not a lot we can do about it now. Moving to a drier climate will help. John.
Tuberculosis, also known as consumption. To be diagnosed with this in the late 19th century might as well have been a death sentence.
Consumption kills his ambitions and releases something dark from inside John Holiday, turning a gentleman dentist into one of the real West's most violent criminals.
I'm afraid it appears to be consumption.
In Georgia, dentist John Henry Holiday vents his own rage over a life not going as planned.
Moving to a drier climate will help.
At just 22 years old, Holiday is forced to make a fresh start.
We know Holiday moves to Dallas, most believe for the dry climate to preserve his health. But it's likely there is more to his decision. There's something about the Wild West that, in his desperate state, seems to appeal to Doc Holiday. Rather than die bedridden, Holiday heads west to, as they say, die with his boots on.
$400.
Well, discretion being the better part of valor, I should probably just fold. But something tells me all you've got is a pair of fours. I call.
Gambling took up the occupational void, and he became good at it. The problem with gambling, particularly in those days, sometimes you were challenged in terms of what you did or what people thought you did.
As my dear mother used to say, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Son of a bitch!
I am afraid to defend myself. These cowards kick me because they know I am down. I haven't a cent, have few friends. They will murder me yet before they are done.
With his body getting weaker, Holiday knows he must find a way to protect himself.
Son of a bitch!
A lot of times, all you need in the West was a reputation, and Doc counted on that. It wasn't that he wanted to fight, he wanted people to know he could.
Holiday embraces the danger, the lawlessness of his new profession, preparing himself for whatever the future might bring. Holiday's life becomes an endless cycle of gambling and drinking, riding the highs and lows for months at a time. He lives the gambler's life, frequenting saloons, gambling halls, and brothels, taking up an on and off again relationship with a prostitute named Kate Elder, and drifting in and out of dangerous situations throughout the West.
Well now, I paid for bona fide three fingers. I expect to get my money's worth.
This is my bar. And that there is three fingers.
You dare to question my veracity?
You crazy son of a bitch!
I know how much three fingers is.
Holiday's alcoholism brought out another person. Bat Masterson said that he was a hard man to like, especially when he was in the cups.
After the confrontation on New Year's Eve, he heads to Fort Griffin, Texas. A town full of saloons, gambling halls, and outlaws. A perfect place for a man like Doc to lose himself. But 300 miles north from Dodge City, the former pimp finds himself wearing a badge and cleaning up a tough town. It's as a gun-for-hire lawman that Earp starts to earn his reputation as a man not to mess with.
It's all yours, Sheriff.
Thank you, Wyatt.
But the life of a deputy marshal is a low-paying, dangerous job. Wyatt risks much for very little reward.
The pay completely depended on the town you were in. You may have made a few dollars a day, you may have made a monthly living, but you were just making ends meet.
The opportunistic lawman looks to supplement his income, so he takes up bounty hunting. And gets a warrant for Dirty Dave Rudabaugh, a train robber and gambling buddy to Doc Holliday. Wyatt follows the outlaw's trail all the way to Fort Griffin and a legendary meeting.
Looking for Dave Rudabaugh. Heard him and his boys might have been this way.
You might try that gambling dentist over there.
Lawman Wyatt Earp is hunting down a notorious outlaw, hoping to cash in on a big bounty. Outlaw Doc Holliday snakes his way west, chasing the rush of high-stakes gambling. Both men meet at the crossroads in Fort Griffin, Texas.
Looking for Dave Rudabaugh. Heard him and his boys might have been this way.
I don't know about that. You might try that gambling dentist over there.
Name's Wyatt Earp. I'm looking for someone.
Despite his legend, which labels him a righteous lawman, Wyatt Earp is an opportunist, seeking financial gain wherever he can find it. Simply stated, Wyatt Earp is a hustler. And if he isn't hustling after the reward for Dirty Dave Rudabaugh, he and his legendary companion, Doc Holliday, might never have met.
Dirty Dave came through here about a week ago. One of the worst card players I've ever seen.
But you haven't seen him since?
No, sir. Even if I had, I don't make a habit of discussing other men's affairs with the law.
Gave my word that I'd bring in Dave Rudabaugh. I intend to do that, one way or another.
Mr. Earp, you know why Dirty Dave was such a bad card player? He was predictable, creature of habit. He came here from Kansas. I bet you he's there now.
I think Earp would look for allies in people who really wouldn't care what he's up to morally, and would ally with him to do what he needed when he needed it, and Doc Holliday fit that bill.
Grateful for the tip, Wyatt heads out tracking his warrant, while Doc faces off with Ed Bailey, a well-known hustler on the gambling circuit.
The way the gambling circuit works, you go from boom to boom, because that's where the money's at.
You gonna be able to finish this game?
As a gambler, he was playing cards with very dangerous individuals and wouldn't tolerate being pushed around or being cheated.
You know that's against the rules, Bailey. Play poker.
I ain't doing nothing.
Bailey, I asked you once politely.
Damn you!
Ed Bailey is well liked in Fort Griffin. The people are outraged. His murder marks the birth of Doc Holliday's reputation as a cold-blooded killer. The town without a jailhouse is in crisis. Holliday is arrested and held at a local hotel while an angry mob gathers outside.
Come on out, Holiday! Bring him on down here. We're gonna cut him into ribeye. Come on out, Holiday! Gone so far this time, Holiday.
Amidst the chaos on the street, Doc has an ally, his estranged girlfriend, Kate Elder.
Holiday and Kate were a very definition of codependent. They were better together than they were apart, but they were terrible together.
The wily Kate has a plan for Doc's escape.
You all right, miss?
Well, boys, it's been fun.
With Kate's help, Doc manages to get out of Fort Griffin alive. He heads north to Dodge City, a well-known stop on the gambling circuit.
2-7s.
Dodge City's reputation as hell on the plains reaches all the way to Washington, D.C., where the press calls it a wicked little town. Home to gamblers, rustlers, thieves, and killers, Doc Holliday blends in.
I don't fall for anything but grace, sir. Oh, looky there, fellas. Say goodbye to them.
In such a town, few men are fit to keep the peace.
Where is that no-good son of a bitch? Wyatt Earp!
But Wyatt is back from his bounty hunt and ready to get to work.
Better start praying, Earp.
Nah, friend. It's you who better put your damn hands up.
Doc Holliday has landed in Dodge City, a tough town for gamblers, and worse for a lone lawman like Wyatt Earp.
You bastards, throw down your weapons before your leader here loses what's left of his brains.
See what he says, boys. This ain't over.
The business is done here.
What's the matter, Wyatt? You losing your touch? Come on, grab a chair. I'm gonna take all your money.
You can try.
Wyatt Earp is outnumbered and outgunned. And out of the shadows steps Doc Holliday to save his life. This is the beginning of the real West's most famous friendship. But the whole truth is, while Doc saves Wyatt that day, without Wyatt, Doc Holliday has even less left to live for.
Tired of the target on his back as a lawman, Wyatt looks southwest for an easier way to make a living. He joins brothers Morgan and Virgil in the boom town of Tombstone, Arizona, on the heels of a silver strike.
By 1879, Dodge City was beginning to lose much of the snap that had given it a charm to men of restless blood, and I decided to move to Tombstone, which was just building up a reputation.
But the Earps are too late. Saloons, brothels, and casinos line the streets. Tombstone has everything except strong lawmen. So the Earps put a badge on their business and worked the law for money. Virgil Earp, after the Army calls him to retrieve some stolen mules, is now a U.S. Deputy Marshal. He promptly deputizes his brothers Wyatt and Morgan.
Because of its proximity to the Mexican border, Tombstone becomes a hub of cattle thievery, and most of that cattle thievery is carried out by a gang known as the Cowboys. Into Tombstone come the Earps, Virgil, Morgan, and then Wyatt Earp. Those are the two opposing forces that define the events that are to follow.
Hey, Frank!
These were guys who were living the cowboy life, who did not want to see the movement in of big business, of the mining corporations, the very kind of civilizing forces that the Earps represented. It's a conflict between two cultures.
That looks like a U.S. Army mule. How'd you come by it? It's really none of your business.
You got him here legally. Beg to differ. Don't care. Just want the government's property back.
We got a problem here, boys. Putting their noses around places they're not supposed to be. There's a good chance it might get shot off. All right, boys, let's go. Right. See you boys later.
The accusation that you were stealing a mule, that was to not only kind of accuse somebody about it being a criminal, but being in the lowest of the low of a criminal. So that one incident winds up really kind of setting out the bad blood between the two groups.
Wyatt, you too.
During the fall of 1880, tension between the Earps and the Cowboys only escalates when Doc joins Wyatt in Tombstone, where stories of his killings and gunplay have already been circulating.
There certainly was a fear factor when he came into town. People respected him, people didn't want to tangle with him. He had an aura of being a killer.
I've had credit for more killings than I ever dreamt of. But you will find, when I have been charged with murder, I have always been a long way off. That looks odd, don't it?
Before long, his reputation catches up with him. 2 innocent people are killed during a violent stagecoach robbery. And rumors are flying that Doc Holliday may be one of the murderers.
That's a lot of money you're putting down.
I heard he killed 2 people.
Didn't even give him a chance.
And an innocent passenger. He shot the driver.
I heard he killed 2 people.
Didn't even give him a chance.
The next person who dares to slander me, call me a murderer, I will be forced to oblige.
With a $3,600 reward for the capture of the killers, Wyatt and his brothers make sure they're in the sheriff's posse. They find clues that point them to 3 suspects, all of them, Wyatt believes, members of the cowboy faction.
Oh!
Hey, look at the tumbleweed that just rolled into town. Boys, let's go inside. I'm gonna buy you boys a drink. Stinks out here.
Earp knows Ike Clanton's connection to the Cowboys is his chance to catch the killers. And possibly a $30,000 a year job as sheriff. Wyatt's meeting with Ike begins the countdown to the most famous gunfight in Western history.
As my dear mother used to say, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Son of a... Don't you cross that square with my watch.
For more revealing stories on these and other Western characters featured in Legends and Lies, purchase the companion book available at BillO'Reilly.com and bookstores nationwide. In the violent boomtown of Tombstone, Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp track a killer for reasons beyond the $3,600 reward. Doc needs to clear his name, and Wyatt wants the sheriff's job with a $30,000 salary.
What is this all about, Earp? I know you know where the robbers are holed up and you're gonna give them to me. Why would I help you?
because there's $3,600 in it for you. You give me the cowboys, I'll give you the reward money. Nobody will know but you and me. You have my word.
Ike Clanton gives up the location of the robbers and knows that if his fellow cowboys learn that he sold out his friends, he's a dead man. The betrayal haunts Ike, and after a night of drinking, he targets the Earps and Doc.
When the Earps wake up, that's when the bull starts. You kill me some Earps, kill me some Earps. You too, Doc. You stagecoach robber.
A threat is made. Virgil Earp hears about these threats and now is determined to crack down on Ike.
Mr. Holliday! Mr. Holliday! Wake up! Wake up! Mr. Holliday! Ike Clanton's making trouble. He's been out there howling like a coyote all night. Says he's gonna kill an Earp.
I read about a coyote's howl in a book once. It's supposed to be a warning. Truth is, they only howl when they're scared.
Gentlemen, good morning. Ike Clanton's been shooting off his mouth. We aim to shut it.
You're not going to leave me out, are you?
Well, this is none of your affair, Doc.
Well, that is a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
When the Earps made up their minds to go down and confront the McLaurys and their group, for Doc, it was a no-brainer. He was going to back their play no matter what.
All right. By the powers vested in me, I hereby declare you a special deputy.
Do I get one of those?
I'll do you one better. All right, go to it, boys.
Virgil had other deputies. He doesn't take those deputies, he takes his brothers, Wyatt and Morgan. And then he drags along Doc Holliday. This is like bringing a match to a party full of gas cans.
Throw up your hands, I'm here to disarm you. Throw up your hands.
This iconic moment of the real West has become known as the gunfight at the OK Corral. But the truth is, it takes place in a vacant lot next to a photography studio near the OK Corral.
Whoa, whoa, come on now. Hey, boys. Come on, Wyatt. I'm an unarmed man.
Fighting's commenced. Get to fighting or get away.
Many historians agree that Doc is the first to cock his weapon and one of the first to pull the trigger. There's a good chance that if Doc Holliday is not there that day, the gunfight at the OK Corral might never have happened.
When the gun smoke clears, 3 cowboys are dead, and the rest are scattered.
Come here, come here. You all right?
But Doc Holliday and the Earps are just getting started.
This famous gunfight is the most legendary shootout of the real West. But the truth is, it lasts just 30 seconds. 30 shots in 30 seconds. And only 3 are killed.
Wyatt, who stood his ground during the shootout, is not hit. Doc is grazed by a bullet, but not hurt.
You all right? You all right, Doc? Where'd you get hit?
Holliday and the Earps can claim victory for the moment, but they all know this is far from over. A month later, Virgil is ambushed. He recovers, but just 2 months later, Morgan is shot in the back. Morgan Earp does not survive the night. Wyatt vows to hunt down the cowboys responsible for Morgan's death. Doc Holliday, wasting away from his illness, joins Wyatt for what will become their last mission together.
This is where Wyatt now falls off the radar as a lawman and becomes the killer behind the badge.
True to his word, Wyatt's vendetta ride, as the press calls it, will leave a trail of blood across Arizona, taking out the remaining cowboys.
This wasn't just Wyatt's reckoning. This was Holliday's retribution as well. This was his friend who was murdered by these people, and he also wanted to see justice.
After 26 days, 4 more cowboys are killed. The vendetta ride is over. With his vengeance satisfied, Wyatt heads further west, still looking for that one big score. Doc Holliday spends his last years in Colorado gambling. Only liquid opium allows him to endure the pain and discomfort.
Doc Holliday represents the darkness, the villainy, the inequity that lies inside of all of us. That part of us that we know we need to repress, but is also useful.
I've been called worse.
Mr. Wyatt Earp.
When Wyatt passes through Denver on his way to California, 2 old friends get to meet again.
Well, come, let's talk a while. This is my wife, Josephine.
Charmed, I'm sure.
It's a pleasure.
It shows that no matter who we are or what we might become, there's always the possibility of us becoming someone else. And I think this is clearly demonstrated with Doc Holliday.
Doc Holliday, a whiskey-soaked gambler and drifter turned ruthless killer, and Wyatt Earp, an opportunistic cowboy who played both sides of the law for money, would forever be defined as the Wild West's most unlikely friendship, a relationship that in truth was based as much on survival as affection.
Wyatt, it warms my heart to see you here and in such fine company. But I'm afraid I must depart.
If you'll pardon me. You know, if it were not for you, I wouldn't be around today.
And if not for you, old friend, neither would I.
Doc was a dentist whom necessity had made a gambler. A gentleman whom disease had made a frontier vagabond.
The biggest misconception people have about Doc Holliday is that he was simply Wyatt Earp's sidekick. The truth is, Doc's his own man who chooses to live by chance and violence over dying in a sickbed. Doc Holliday's anger, fueled by a life cut short by disease, sends him west. Desperate to die on his own terms, for 15 years, he lives in the shadow of certain death, finally dying at age 36. In his way, countless lives took the brunt, of his wrath. And in the very end, Doc Holliday can claim just one true friend.